Hare. So we welcome you all on this Sunday evening for the Gita Mastery course session. And before we get into the session, let's all chant the prayers together. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanja Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Vrishthaya Bhutale Shrimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bhashyatya Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinadaranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So like always, we begin our session with the Gita Rewind, a quick quiz from the session what we have previously conducted. So get ready, and here we are sharing with all of you. It goes on your screen. Just a moment. Yes. So we request you all to carefully read the questions. The questions are quite simple and straightforward this time, so that it is easy for you to get the right answer. So be careful. All the best.
And once you're done the quiz, kindly mark your attendance. That's also very important. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So here is the result. Question number 1. Soul resides in the city of 9 gates.
Great. So most of you got it right. What makes the soul happy? Being in Krishna consciousness. 100% of you. That's remarkable. Great.
Soul desires and Supreme Lord sanctions. So option number 3.
Next question, question number 4. The soul does not perform any activity, creates fruits of action. So both is the right answer. The third option is the right answer.
Question number 5. Who's responsible for all the good and bad reactions? And there is some major problem there. I don't know why or how the modes of nature can be responsible. Modes of nature is like the material facilities which are provided to us. Like this body is matter, made of matter. Body on its own cannot do anything.
Otherwise, dead bodies will be doing so much.
So ultimately, see, if somebody has to get the good and the bad reaction, who's that person who gets that good and bad reaction? Is it the mode of material nature which gets good or bad reaction? If material nature get good or bad reaction, then why am I suffering here? So the correct answer for this is soul. Soul is responsible for all the good and bad reaction because the soul desires. And everything gets triggered because of that desire.
Even if when there's a court case going on and there is some murderer and he is being tried for his murder, but if the accused dies in the process, then the case is closed. So the body cannot be punished. It is the person who has to be punished. So the person is actually at the end of the day held responsible for his actions. The spirit soul.
Question number 6. Does the Supreme Lord interfere with the desires of the soul? No. Option number 2 is the correct answer.
What is true knowledge? Knowing the difference between matter and spirit is the right answer. Knowing the super soul is right. So both is the correct answer.
Question number 8. Result of tolerating sense desire. A person becomes happy, well situated and steady progress on spirituality. So the correct answer is all of the above.
Question 9, the last question. What is the real cause of one's difficulty in hard struggle for life? And almost everyone has got it right. Forgetfulness of a relationship with Krishna. So I guess most of you got 90% plus.
Okay, so thank you for participating in the quiz. Moving ahead in the chapter number 5. So as we know that chapter 5 has total 29 verses, we have already covered the first 3 sections, 1 to 12, talking about Padma Patra or becoming like a lotus leaf so that we do not get affected by the things happening around us. Second was the 3 doers. So to get to that platform, we have to understand that there is not only one doer, but there are 3 doers involved: the soul, the super soul, and the modes of material nature. And when a person acquires that knowledge, then he develops the equal vision. So this also we discussed in the last session, talking about equal vision and the symptoms of a person who has such an equal vision. Because this person acquires this equal vision because he can see the presence of Paramatma in all the living entities, not only in human beings, but all the living entities. He knows and sees the presence of Paramatma. Now getting into section number 4, and then we will cover 5, so total 3 verses. So the first 2 verses are basically an introduction to Ashtanga Yoga. The whole next chapter is dedicated to this. So let us move on to the next slide and see verse number 27, 28. So here it says, shutting out all external sense objects. So when we talk about the sense objects, these are the objects which gives some type of satisfaction to our senses. So those things are known as sense objects with which my senses can be satisfied. So we know that we have 5 senses, right? So eyes, we get some inputs, ears, we get some input, nose is there. So like that 5 senses. And then there are so many objects around us which catches our attention and distract us, or we are not able to focus. Like for example, if you are working and suddenly there is a Facebook notification on your phone, so instantly without even conscious thinking, your hand reaches out to the phone and you pick it up and you check it out. So what this person has to do, the first thing is shutting out all external sense objects, right? So that is one thing. Second is keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows. So a person has to look with a half closed eyes at the tip of his nose, so that the eyes are not widely open, because if eyes are open, then we have again the chance of getting distracted. If nothing is there in the room, still we may just look at the tube light, or may look at the fan, or some cobweb or something, so it catches our attention. So
and if there is no light, then we sleep off.
Yeah, and if the light is not there and the eyes are closed, then we may sleep off. So in both the cases, it is not conducive. So it is said that keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostril, so which means it's talking about breathing control, and thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence, the transcendentalist aiming at liberation becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. So this Krishna is describing the process of Ashtanga Yoga, and if we do such thing, if we are doing such thing, that one who is always in this state is certainly liberated. So when we attain that state where my senses do not get distracted with any sense object, where I am just not looking around the world, where I am just focusing and controlling my mind, and I come to a stage where I become free from desire, fear and anger, that is the liberation stage. So this whole thing we will be discussing much detail in the 6th chapter, which is coming up. This is just a peek preview, a trailer. So we are not spending much time here. Let's move to the next section, which talks about the peace formula. So now this verse number 29, it is a key memory verse. It is very, very important verse. And here Krishna is telling us as how can we attain peace. So all of us, we are struggling, we are suffering, we have so much of anxiety. And if we follow this, then we attain the peace. So let's look at it. What is there? Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati.
So this is a memory verse, and you can mark it for that. This is the last verse of the 5th chapter. So here, as Sugiti was telling, this is the peace formula, Shantim Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati. So there are 3 things which Krishna talks about here. If we know these 3 things, Gyatva, then we will achieve Shanti. Shanti means actually relief from the pangs of material miseries. We, all of us, are facing some or the other kinds of problems. These are all material miseries. So how do we attain peace from these pangs of material miseries? What is stated here? In fact, essentially this means that one who knows these three things will attain liberation, will actually be free from this material world. So let's see what are these. A person in full consciousness of me, which means one who is Krishna, fully Krishna conscious. So knowing me, and because many people have this confusion, why do I read Bhagavad Gita? Why do I read Bhagavatam? Why all this knowledge and philosophy is required? And Krishna is answering that question here, that even if you are in full consciousness of me, that should include this knowledge, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities. So this is the first thing which Krishna is talking about, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam. So the yagyas, any yagya for any purpose that is being conducted or any tapasya which is being performed, he is saying that I am the ultimate enjoyer. I am the ultimate receiver of that yagya or the tapas, which means I am the main person being worshipped through the process of the homa or the yagya. I am the main person whom the tapasvi is trying to please. And it is Krishna who gives the result of the yagya, who gives the result of that tapasya. So that is why this is so important, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam. Knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities. Next thing, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. So Sarva Loka, all the planetary systems in this material world, all the universes in the material realm, and all the spiritual worlds. Sarva Loka, everything Maheshwaram. Lord is the master. He is the Maha Ishwar. He is the controller of all the planets and of all the living entities who live there. So all the devatas, everybody. They are under the control of the Lord. He is the ultimate controller. Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. So sometimes we may feel, oh, controller, Krishna is controller. Usually we don't like anybody who controls us. So if parents control us, we dislike it. If the spouse controls us, we dislike it. If the government controls us very tightly, we dislike it. We have the example of China. So when somebody tries to control, we dislike it. But at the same time, Krishna says, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. All the living entities, I am their friend. So what do you think? So these are the breakup of the peace formula. Krishna, we need to understand these facts about Krishna. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. When am I performing any Vedic sacrifice, any ritual, any tapasya, Krishna is actually ultimately being worshipped. He's the one who is going to give me the result. So that is first thing we need to understand. Krishna is the proprietor of everything that exists. Right? We have people having a house, having a car, but Krishna owns this planet. Krishna owns all the resources here and in the universe. So Krishna is the supreme proprietor and he's a well-wishing friend. So what do you think a friend does? What do you think if you were to select one quality of a friend, what is the most significant quality of a friend? Or two most significant qualities of friend? So would you like to send it to chat? You can see Sukirti and Amrendra. You can directly send the messages to us. I'm waiting. And YouTube also, you can chat in the chat window. We have your chat in front of us.
So Smita has mentioned, listen to us.
Listen to us. The friend should listen to us. Okay. Well-wishing and caring. Yeah, good. Well-wishing, which means the friend cares about us, trustworthy. He's an advisor, Sneha. Thank you for that. So the friend is one who gives us proper advice, not the advice that we like, but it gives proper advice.
Guiding us.
Guiding us. Great.
Mentor and a coach. Good guiding qualities. Listen and empathize. Always good. Okay, at Facebook we are getting Divyesh saying non-reactive, non-judgmental. YouTube, yeah.
Okay, so loyal and caring.
Helps.
Always there for us. Oh, that's a good one, huh? Kasipati says there, and the friend is always there with us, even in the moments of difficulty. Okay. Supportive, understanding. Okay, great.
Not jealous.
So how is Krishna our friend? We were, we need to understand, okay, I'm sure in this life you have had many friends. Sometimes the spouse is a friend, sometimes there are actual friends who may not be even family members. So we have experience of friends throughout our life. How many of us are there with us in this life? The friends that we have were with us in the previous life, or will continue to be our friends in the next life? Anyone? Can you name such people in your life who were your friends in the previous lifetime, and they will continue to be your friends in the next lifetime also? Lavanya says no idea. None.
Gita says only Krishna.
Yeah. So imagine Krishna is a person who has been with us for all our previous lives. Lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, he was just continuing with us. Whether we were having a form of a devata, or we had a body of a worm, or we had the body of a dog, Krishna did not leave us. Constantly he was with us, and whenever we wanted his advice, he was willing to give, but most of the time we just ignored him. We just were busy trying to enjoy things in the material world. And so therefore, Divesh was saying non-reactive, he was saying non-judgmental. Yeah, Lord was not judgmental. He was not judging us for all the choices that we are making. So that is the beauty of Krishna. So therefore, he is the actual, the natural, the most original well-wishing friend we have had. So and many of you have mentioned that how Krishna is an advisor. So this is how Krishna is the well-wishing friend, how he helps us.
So now Krishna is so very kind and merciful. He's so concerned about us, genuinely concerned. So as many of you have mentioned that the friend should guide us, or should tell us what to do, what not to do, or should be a coach and a mentor. So here we see Krishna, first thing, he sends his bona fide servants as guru. So the spiritual master, the whole system what Krishna has introduced in chapter 4th about the parampara system, where he identifies certain qualified people and send them in our life who are actually the representative of Krishna, who actually bring the message of Krishna to us. Like, for example, we in ISKCON, we are so fortunate to have Srila Prabhupada. If Prabhupada was not there, who would have oversimplified this message of Bhagavad Gita and like a baby food? He cooked it so well, it's like a baby food. All we have to do is just gulp in and everything is there. So Krishna, out of his causeless mercy and concern for us, he sends his bona fide representative or bona fide servant. Krishna also sends scriptures like Bhagavad Gita. So, I mean, there is no need for Krishna to enact the whole pastime of Mahabharata and to speak Bhagavad Gita. Krishna, lying in his planet itself, he could have just fixed all the problems. But then Krishna personally came, Krishna interacted, and Krishna gave Bhagavad Gita. For what? For us to understand the spiritual matters and to understand what is spiritual world, why are we here, why are we suffering, how can we go back there. So for all that, Krishna gives us the scriptures. These are like the user manuals when we are in this material world. Then Krishna himself comes as incarnations. So he says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. That again and again, yuga after yuga, whenever there is a decline in the irreligion and rise in irreligious practices, whenever his devotees are suffering, he personally incarnates. So he tries to send his representative, he leaves his words behind, but then when the situation becomes bad, he personally comes. So he personally incarnates. And then we have recently witnessed just 500 years ago. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's not different from Krishna, he actually comes. So when Krishna sees that I am sending my words as in Bhagavad Gita, I am coming as incarnation and I am sending my representatives also, yet people do not know how to follow it, how to do it. So that time Krishna personally comes as a teacher to teach us the process of Bhakti Yoga. So he comes as a devotee, he demonstrates, he gives a practical demonstration to us so that we become inspired and follow the process of Bhakti Yoga. So this is how Krishna is always our natural friend. So this is the peace formula that when we accept, when we understand and accept this position of Krishna, then when we are working in that consciousness, we are peaceful always.
So as I was explaining earlier, not just what is important, oh, Krishna is our natural friend, but how he is our friend is also extremely important. That is why we are spending so much of time trying to understand Bhagavad Gita, trying to appreciate the intricacies of Bhagavad Gita, right? That how Krishna is the Bhoktaram, how he is the Sarvalokam Maheshwaram, how is the Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. So all these three things, it's so important. One who knows this is actually, goes back to the spiritual world, develops love of God.
So congratulations, dear friends. We have actually completed this Gita Mastery Course, Chapter 5.